live from Fort Lauderdale. I'm Mark Middleton along with Bill Schaefer. And if you folks joined us yesterday evening, and we certainly hope you did, you saw Bill and I on the beach in Fort Lauderdale. We took a pretty big risk, Bill, because there were threatening thunderstorms. We really didn't think we'd get the show in, but we pressed on and we did. But Bill, we didn't have the same amount of confidence today.
No, the weather is supposed to be bad tonight, although today was beautiful. We've got great action that we'll be showing you in just a little bit. But as Mark said, we'd love to show this city off. There's so many beautiful vistas and scenes and spots. But today we had to go the practical route. So where are we today? We thought we'd give you like a little peek at what it takes for us to bring all of these events and these live broadcasts to you. So let's take a look around in our makeshift studio that we are able to pop in a couple of vans and hit the road with. We've got producer Tim Killian and Mike Nannis is there, and all of our technology to bring you this webcast is right there. It's almost these days, it's so great, isn't it, Mark? We can get up and go to another town and just bring it to you.
It really is amazing, and we won't belabor this point, but for a couple of older TV guys, I don't want to say old TV guys, it's remarkable. Yeah. We used to have big live vans, $1 million worth of equipment to do something live, and now we can stand on the beach and use data to get back to this control room and then upload it and stream it live. So that's what we're doing today. Let's talk about what happened today, because Bill, I know that you and Jason and Sean got up very, very early, drove to Miramar for track and field, which is really one of the highlights of this event.
And the activity there is crazy too. Miramar, just so you know, from the headquarters of the National Senior Games, which is mostly the convention center, it's about a half-hour drive. So all the athletes also go down there. Everybody was down there very early. It's a beautiful facility. And once we were down there, look at this. There's a guy doing a triple jump. You know, a little earlier you saw javelin and shot put, and it's awesome. These are some of the older guys. This is the 85 to 89 age group, and watch these guys run. These guys are hauling, and this is amazing. The guy who's out front, look at him go. This is Roger Vergen. He's our friend from the Villages, and did he smoke the field or what? How would you do if you were out there running against him? This guy is amazing. So we had to ask him his philosophy, ask him a little bit about his character, and here's what he told us right after the race.
It's just something that was in my nature from the time I was very young. I was always a very driven person. And, I was successful in school and in business and so on. And I retired, and, without some of those things to drive me, I just had too much time on my hands. So I took this up at 71. And I've now won almost 100 national or international championships, including the decathlon for the last 7 years, the pentathlon for the last 8 years. It's a lot of fun. So you meet such nice people, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, having said all that, what is it that you really get from doing all this?
Well, it's just, at the age of 84, all of my friends from high school are gone. They're all dead. Many of my colleagues that I worked with, I was a professor, university professor, so most of them are dead. These are my friends now. Even though I don't see them often, it's walk in and see them. It's just like, you saw them last week, even though it might be 6 months. So this is the best set of friends that I've got at this age.
And is life at 85 anything close to as rewarding as it was at, say, 35?
Well, there's different kinds of rewards. It's plenty rewarding if you have something to do, if you have a few friends, and if you can relax and just enjoy it.
You're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks a million, Roger. What?
I was a guy who couldn't make the high school team, by the way.
And look at you now.
Look at me.
Oh, wait, did you catch what he said there? He said he was cut from the high school team. Mark, that still bugs him because he's proud to say that, look where I am today. How cool is that? The Villages is such an amazing area, and Roger Vergen is one of the best athletes in the Villages.
Yeah, it's really cool, and because he was cut from all of his high school teams doesn't mean he's not great right now. And, it's really kind of a metaphor for life. It's not how you start the race, it's how you finish the race. And Bill, I'm I'm thrilled you ran down Roger Vergen because it's not easy. I actually met Roger in Miramar back in December at the Florida State Games. Here's what I learned about him that I know you know, but it wasn't in the story. This is a guy who was a business professor at Cal Berkeley. After that, he worked for Marlon Brando as a business manager in Tahiti, and from there, he owned part of a gold mine in Empire, California. He said he lost just about everything in that, but resilience is what life is all about, and he certainly got it.
Everybody here has a story. His is fascinating. Yours would be too if you were here. He's a guy that was not considered athletic. He was a driven guy. And when he retired, he needed something to replace it. He turned out, what better favor can you do for your own body, for your own health, for your own family, than to give this a try? Anyway, he did, and you heard him talk about how many medals he's won and how it's totally changed his life.
Yeah, it keeps him going. Talk about stories. I ran into a great one today. There was a basketball reunion here in Fort Lauderdale this morning that has everybody talking, celebrating, and laughing about what this group of women are doing. We'll share that story with you next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Schaefer with Mark Middleton, and we are in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the National Senior Games for Growing Bolder to bring you all this amazing action going on. 12,000 athletes in 24 sports. And for so many of the athletes we're meeting, getting together like this, it's kind of a reunion for them to get to see each other once again.
There are so many stories. All you have to do is walk into any venue and you find one, and we did this morning. In fact, this is a story, folks, that is more than 40 years in the making, and I think the best way to start it is with a photo. So let's take you back to 1980, and these are the challengers, the girls basketball team from Hollywood Christian School, 23-1, and the Florida State champions in their division that year. This year, 42 years later, 8 teammates are reuniting in their old stomping grounds to compete once again in the National Senior Games. The Challengers made their tournament debut this morning, and while all parts of their game are not back yet, their competitive nature, their love of the game, and their love for one another is as strong as ever. And how about this? 2 of the 1979 cheerleaders pulled out their own outfits and their pom-poms. They dusted off 2 bits and did their thing as well. The Challengers were beaten in their debut, which of course they didn't like, but that's not what this remarkable reunion is all about. It's about something a whole lot bigger and more valuable. It's about reconnecting with friends and the athlete that lives within us all.
The sport allows us to reignite the athlete within us. And, you know, I'm 60 this year. 3 of our teammates turned 60 this year, and we've spent the last 30 years, 40 years taking care of the dog, the kids, the husband, ministry, did lots of ministry work. And this is my time, my time to just rediscover who I was. I was an athlete from age 8 till age 20. And so that's the beauty of sports. It brings people together. We would not be reunited. We'd still be just connecting on Facebook if it wasn't for sports, We come from Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee, and we just hang out together. And we feel like we're just having slumber parties back in high school. We met when we were 14, and now we're reconnected when we're 60.
Sorry to report that the Challengers lost their second game later today. They have been eliminated, but something tells me, folks, they are back in their verbo. They are chilling in the hot tub and probably drinking an adult beverage or two, because Bill, it was very clear from talking to the team, they came to play hard, but they came to play, and that didn't involve just basketball.
Well, you sure found an incredible story there, Mark, and it just goes to show you how the connection that we make, it doesn't matter whether you're in high school or whether you're retired, when you make a connection over something like athletics, it just does not go away.
Yeah, I think the theme actually for this year's National Senior Games is a reunion for the ages, and it really is true. As Naomi told us, these girls, these women would not have gotten back together again were it not for sports, and now they'll never be disconnected. They're going to stay together and stay in touch forever.
A great reunion for them, and also for the many athletes who live for these National Senior Games because of the pandemic, of course. We missed one. It's been 3 years in 2019 since we've had this, so it's kind of a reunion for everybody getting together back here in Fort Lauderdale.
Everybody's excited. As you've mentioned a couple of times, nearly 12,000 athletes. The record was set in 2019 in Albuquerque, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be broken next year in Pittsburgh, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
That's fantastic. But you know what we're going to do first, Mark?
I want to know.
We're going to take a little break, but when we come back, we're going to meet some of the fastest women in the world over the age of 60 and find out why it is they're doing what they're doing. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and if you want a beauty shot, and you know who really doesn't, here it is. Forget the Goodyear blimp, folks. That is old school. We've got the growing boulder drone flying above Charnow Park in Hollywood Beach. the site of yesterday's 5K. Take a look at that. We told you about the women's trailblazing running pioneer Catherine Switzer running in the 5K race yesterday, but we didn't tell you, and we're going to now, is that her husband, Roger Robinson, is as well known and respected worldwide as Catherine is in the running community. Roger was the world's leading masters runner throughout the 1980s. He ran for England and New Zealand. He won the men's masters division in the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon, the Vancouver Marathon, and more, setting records in each and every one. And despite living on separate continents, he and Catherine were married in 1987, and they just figured it out. They now live part-time in New York City and part-time in New Zealand. Roger is 83, and their love of running and of one another is stronger than ever. Let me ask you one question about your relationship, because I talked to Catherine about it. I read somewhere where she said, you know, she found an athlete poet, a professorial, academic, intellectual athlete, cool, groovy dude. So I'm expecting that you can somehow put an interesting description on your relationship.
Oh, yes, because having the running, it's not essential, but it's a big help, because that is something that's important to us both. And so you understand. And you can help each other through the bad times, because there's always an injury. You know, we're up, one of us is up, the other one's down. And there's always an illness or injury or something, and you help each other through. You understand that. You understand the smelly shoes. You understand the need to get out and run every day. But as a person, I don't have to speak of Catherine's personality. Everybody loves her. And everybody adores her, and women fall into her arms and cry and things like that. And well, when she lit the cauldron last night, and I said to her afterwards, "Well, you light my cauldron every day." So
They are humble heroes. The spark still burns, folks. They both fly well below the radar, but for the knowledgeable running fan, a photo with both Catherine and Roger is a prized possession. Okay, as we mentioned earlier, Bill started his day out at the track and field venue, and wherever you go at the National Senior Games, whenever you bump into a group of women, you realize very quickly that it's not just participating in sports, it's bigger than that. The participation, the socialization, the community has not just made their lives better, it's totally transformed their lives for the better. It's something Bill discovered this morning.
Thanks. One of the stories that we see at the National Senior Games doesn't happen on the score sheet. It happens in the heart. Here's a great example here. All runners, all people from different walks of life and different places. What is this event really all about?
Oh my God, it's about the competition, friends getting together. We haven't seen each other in years.
And friends you never would have made.
Never would have made if it wasn't for the National Senior Games.
So do your friends look at you and go, are you crazy? Why do
Yes.
you put that much time and effort and money into traveling and going all these places?
My kids always say, "Mom, how long are you going to run?" And I say, "As long as I can run." And
Look at the example
Yes.
that you're providing for them.
yes, my son always says he hits the gym, he works out, that I'm his inspiration.
Got to keep up with mom.
Yes.
How proud are you of what you do?
I'm so proud of me because not only my age, but make a sacrifice to be here, because today I might not able to be here because so much stuff happened, but the senior game make us go through all of it and make the dream come true. And that's what I came from. No matter what, I need to take at least one medal home.
It gives you a goal. It gives you a reason to keep
and
moving forward.
breathe.
How about you? What do you think the real message of the games is to people that are watching?
I think it's just important to set a goal and work your best to achieve it. Whatever you do, you're better off than if you've never set the goal. So it's important to set the goal, be active, be healthy, and do your best.
Tell me your names and ages if you don't mind. You guys are proud of your ages, where most women don't like to. Tell me your names and your ages and where you're from.
My name is Ruth Johnson. I'm 60 years old. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I do this in honor of my late father, who was my first track coach.
I'm Adele Knights. I was born in Brazil, but I'm over here now. I'm American too. So I have 4 kids. My inspiration is right behind me, Diana Knights, and that's what keeps encouraging me to do what I do today and stay healthy.
And what are you, 40?
63 this month.
I'm India Bridgette. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm 60.
Johnny Reed, Naples, Florida, 59.
all competitors, all out here running track and field, but this is what they do for a living. This is what they do for fun. The National Senior Games is a celebration of them, but it's also what we can be if we just pick up from the inspiration that they have for us all. Isn't this fantastic?
Great stuff. Congratulations to all. And you know, folks, competition at this age really is different. Obviously, they all want to win. They compete like crazy. But up until the race and immediately after the race, it's all about friendship and admiration. They are, in fact, advocates for one another. You see all the time these athletes of this age helping one another, giving tips to the woman or the man that might be in the lane next to them to help them be their very, very best. It is inspiring, and we hope that you get the message that everybody has a place in the National Senior Games. All right, one of the busiest booths in the entire Athletes Village this year has been Pittsburgh 2023. Athletes already looking forward to another reunion in the Steel City. And, you know, it's exciting because they've been there before. They know that Visit Pittsburgh puts on one heck of a show. You can already make your travel plan. So here's more about what you can expect next year in 2023.
The word is out. Pittsburgh is a must-see travel destination. Plan a visit and you'll quickly find what makes our city so special. The experiences and attractions you'll find only in Pittsburgh.
That's right. Experiences like the Heinz History Center,
The Andy Warhol Museum,
or the August Wilson African American Cultural Center. And that's just a start.
yes, all this and much more, only in Pittsburgh. See you soon.
Welcome back to Growing Bolder at the National Senior Games here in Fort Lauderdale. And folks, I got to tell you, if you're looking for reasons not to do something, looking for reasons not to get up and get out and be active, looking for reasons to not get off the couch, you are in luck because there are plenty of them. But I recently interviewed a woman who I think might change your mind about the possibilities. Her name is Leah Coriel. She is an archer, and she is definitely not what you might expect. Leah had a very difficult childhood. She was abused in multiple ways as a child. 8 years ago, she was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, an incurable disease. Doctors said she had 8 years at most, so get her life in order. Her husband divorced her. She had thoughts of suicide. And then, for whatever reason, she said, what about archery? In a wheelchair, she took up archery in 2015, and it transformed her life. And you know what did it? The notion, for the first time in her life, that she was an athlete. Here's a clip from our interview with Leah Coriel.
So we went to this adaptive sports camp in California, and the first day there was a huge shift in my life because, I was overweight, I was shy, I didn't care about really my appearance, and they said, all right, athletes, and I'm like, I'm not an athlete. People assume that I've been a lifelong athlete. With my childhood, I've never played sports. I was the last kid on the playground chosen to play on a kickball team, because they would rather play one person short than have Leah on their team. So it's the first time in my life I wasn't, a student or a patient or a participant or, something other than an athlete. And that shift changed my life, absolutely changed my life, because it changed my identity and who I thought I could be.
How about that? Leah clearly articulates what Bill and I see almost every time we talk to the over 10,000 athletes here. There is something about getting a credential that says athlete on it that changes your own self-image, your own perception of who you are and what is possible. And I really think this is one of the most magical things about the National Senior Games, the ability for people, for the first time ever, at any age, to consider themselves an athlete, to look at others around, be inspired by them, and know that they are, in fact, inspiring others. So if you want to listen to our Fountain of Youth podcast, you should, because there's a lot of great interviews like the one we just shared with you with Leah Coriel. Just listen to it, subscribe to it, anywhere you get your podcast. I think most people do it on Apple Music or Spotify. Check it out, Billy. It is the Fountain of Youth podcast.
It's an awesome podcast. It'll change the way you think. It's just fun to listen to, and it'll really get you going. One of the reasons Mark has a credential that says athlete is because he is one. Some of the people here talk the talk, some of the people walk the walk. Tomorrow morning, Mark will be in the pool competing here at the National Senior Games. Was that a difficult decision to make?
Well, I still reserve the option to scratch at the last minute if things get too busy. But no, it is impossible to not get jitters. It's impossible to not want to win. It's impossible to not start thinking about, I'm too tired. I've not had enough time. I'm working. But when push comes to shove, it's also impossible not to step up there on the blocks and see what you got.
And I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you understand how Leah felt? Do you understand that? What is that feeling like of feeling, I am an athlete, I can compete, and I can do well?
It's a great question, and Bill, I think the important part in that is that everyone needs to realize that we are all athletes. It really doesn't have anything to do with winning. It doesn't have anything to do with competing. Yes, many athletes compete, many athletes win, but being an athlete is just about moving with intention. Trying to get better, trying to improve your overall health and well-being. If you do that, you're an athlete. Just keep at it, because it gets easier and it gets better.
Well, I'm super proud that you're going to be doing that and representing Growing Boulder in there and representing yourself. And Mark will never tell you, but he is one of the best swimmers in his age group in the world in your events. You don't like the long form, right?
No.
But the sprints are right up your alley.
There we go.
That's
If it's short, I like it.
Hopefully we'll be able to watch some of that if you keep coming back every day at 5. We're going on with highlights of that day, and you never know what will bring you. One of the things that we have, Mark, that people have really enjoyed is at the convention center, the Growing Boulder booth has been a gathering point for all kinds of people to stop by. There are so many faces of people taking these keepsake photographs in front of the booth, and they're getting free copies of Growing Boulder magazine. And for some, they've never really seen themselves portrayed this way in an inspiring and very professional manner. We've got impromptu cornhole challenges going on. It's all set up there. People feel comfortable enough to stop and watch our monitors where these shows play. Some of the great Growing Boulder merchandise is available there, and of course at gb.com. Cups and t-shirts really ought to put Growing Boulder on you. You think athlete makes you feel better? Put Growing Boulder on a shirt and you will feel a lot better. Here's the question wall that we have as well. There's a question of the day where we ask a different question and have the athletes submit their answers. It's really exceeded my expectations. I didn't know what we'd find. Today's question was, how have you been surprised this year? How have you surprised yourself this year and what you've done? And so Susie from Cincy said she adopted a beagle. Adding a pet to your life makes a big difference, doesn't it? Pets are great. And these are cool too. Dan Carroll from Arlington, Virginia finished a doctorate.
Wow.
So this is the kind of thing that's happening. Standing tall in her fight with cancer, Sherry Rowe from the Villages. Yeah. Wow, a lot of people have so many things going on in their lives. How about Evelyn Wilson from Columbia, South Carolina? I don't know, maybe we know her mom, maybe we don't. She inspired her 95-year-old mom to come with her, not just to watch, but to compete in these games. And she says that her mom set a record in the 50 meters in the 95 age group. That's unbelievable. What's happening around here? These are regular, ordinary people, as we like to say, living extraordinary lives. It's such a great event. It's why we wanted to pack our whole company, bring it down here to be able to give you a peek at what's going on.
Yeah, it's been an honor to be here. We've got many more days, so join us live right here, wherever you're watching now. 5 o'clock most every night. I think we're going to go a little bit later tomorrow night for the celebration of athletes as that occurs. But you can find out what time we will be live by checking out Growing Boulder's Facebook page. But yeah, I'm having a great time. It is a sea of inspiration, and Bill and I are, we're swimming lots of laps in it. We'll see you tomorrow.